Got him, coach. What is up? I love basketball TV. It's Coach Ryan Razooky, and today we're going to be looking at 4 different finishes that we can use, that you can now add to your bag, that you can add to your game to finish over more athletic, taller, or stronger defenders. So the first finish we're going to be looking at is our spin move. And oftentimes when I teach this, I see a lot of different ways that players tend to get this wrong. So as we attack the basket, what I'm trying to do here is drive right side, and if the ball is in my right hand, the defense is going to hopefully pressure that right side. It's going to make the most sense for them to take away that side, right? If they take away the hoop, I'm going to have my floater options, I'm going to have my pull-up options, but oftentimes as you drive with the ball in the right hand, they're going to tend to take away that side. And that's going to be a common trend that we're going to be looking at for a lot of these finishes. If the defender, if that help defender takes away the basket, right now I'm telling you that you got floater or pull-up option, but all of these finishes that we're looking at today is how this help defense more commonly defends when you drive. So as I'm driving here right hand, defense will tend to step up to the ball side. So as they do that, I'm going to go slam, boom, right, left, and now when I get to the rim, my 3 finishing options will be layup, floater, or fade. And this is going to be how we talk about secondary reads. My first read is that I see the help side defense come towards this side. So of course I slam it, get away, boom. And now depending on how they play, I will understand, do I have the layup here? Do I have the floater over the top? Or do I have the fadeaway off that spin? And that's how you become such of a more elite player, is learning how to make those secondary reads. So when you're doing your training and you're working on your spin move, make sure that you practice the layup, the floater, and the fade, because you're going to need all of them in different scenarios when the defense pressures you differently. So I drive, slam, spin, and go ahead and finish this. Could be that layup, could be a floater, bounce, or it could be that fade. But just making sure that we get to the right spot. Now, here's what I see that a lot of players do wrong with this one. If I'm going right hand, I should slam, boom, right, left, and then go ahead and finish. Most players will slam, switch hands. You don't want to do this, especially around the rim, because like I explained, that defense is on this side. So that's a poke, that's a rip, that's a layup down the other end. That's a turnover. We want right hand slam, right hand pickup. Now, the second thing I see is slam, step, spin. So this is where you're going to get your travel, because a lot of players will slam it, take a step or a couple, and then try to spin. And so now there's no way that that's possible to be able to take 2 steps and then even have options after that. So we really want to look into the details of just this move, because I want to make sure that you're doing it correctly, because a lot of players don't. So I'm here, boom, slam, spin right away, right foot, left foot. Do not switch prior. Do not slam, step, and then spin. And lastly, like I explained, is right foot, left foot. Both feet have to go down. You do not want to spin, put 1 foot down, and then finish like this off 1. Can you do it? Absolutely. Is it effective? Yes, it is. But the problem is that when you get to that spot, now you're running out of options. Your options are to score off a layup, kick out, which is a jump pass, probably not the best option, or throw a turnover. That's it. That's all you have. But if you can learn how to put both feet down, 1, 2, I now have an up and under, which we'll talk about next. I have a reverse pivot. I have pump fake shot, or I can do multiple pivots to create more options, or I can stay more in control to find the right pass instead of forcing a pass. So we get to here, boom, 1, 2, and we can score, jumper, floater, layup. That's number 1. Let's take a look at it a little bit faster here, but I really want to make sure you get the details. Drive, slam, 1, 2, and shot. Or slam, 1, 2, layup, or float. All the above are fine. Just make sure that you get this, boom, 1, 2. So we just broke down the spin move. We just talked about how to do it effectively. So now we get down to this space, and that defense is doing a good job. And we talked about secondary reads. So now I'm pound, 1, 2, ball on this ear. I want to pump fake here. Then ball goes overhead. I step across and finish there. Legally, you are allowed to pick up your pivot foot to finish. But I suggest that you don't, because refs are spotty sometimes. They don't always call it the right way. So I suggest you go spin, pump fake, step, and jump off 2. That's going to be a lot safer for you, so that way you never get that travel call even though it's legal. Now, if you pay attention to when I pick up the ball, here's the main point and the main key with this, because you've got to understand how many steps are being taken. If I dribble the ball, pick up here, 1, pivot foot, 2, pivot foot was lifted and put back down, travel. But if I dribble it and have the ball with one hand, and I'm now 1, I haven't picked it up yet, because technically I could go, boom, and keep dribbling. So if you're allowed to delay that pickup and hold it with one hand, that's why I teach the one hand pickup. Now you can go, boom, 1, 2, right foot's the pivot, and now you can play off that pivot forever. Small details, but which make you elite as a player. So I'm here, boom, 1, 2, and step through. With this one, the most common problem I see is that the ball comes down. So when I go ahead and go slam, 1, 2, the pump fake is not always to the left ear, which it should be. I need to step towards that free throw line, which doesn't always happen. That's another common mistake. And then the ball travels through my stomach, which is the third common mistake. The ball has to go overhead and then step across. That way I can get that ball past that defense. Again, slam, 1, 2, overhead, finish. Now we have our layup because we got that defense to fly. We can attack, and there's so much that you can do with a spin move. I said earlier that you can spin, fade, spin, layup, spin, floater, and now spin up and under. Really hard to guard. Plus, because you land on 2, you're so much under control that if none of those options are available, you can kick it out to a shooter. The next move we're looking at is going to be our pro hop finish. A great move to have in your bag to be able to get into open space and split gaps. So when I'm driving here, I'm going to be outside this key. And now, of course, like we explained, help side's going to step over towards the ball. Even if I have a defender here on my back, I can still split this gap. Slam, pick it up in the air, and then land. Couple things that you want to pay attention to is the fact that I pick the ball up in the air and pay attention to my shoulders and how I turn my body, because you can now see them square to the wall, to the backboard. When I go into this move, they are now facing that side. And so this allows me to split the gap, protect the ball, and have more finishing options. Because just like we explained before, we have our layup, floater, or fade. So once I drive down, if I can totally beat that defender to the other side, I'm gonna get that left-hand layup. So I'm here, slam, get to the other side, left-hand layup. Again, ball was picked up in the air, so you're allowed 2 steps after that. Okay, you don't wanna slam it, pick it up, and then hop. Very common mistake, and the body turn must happen. Now, you could get pro hop floater. So we'll be here into our pro hop fade as our last option. Creating that separation, but we still get to our spots. Same as our spin move. You always want to learn how to get to the paint and finish with fade, floater, or layup. Of course, you can take layup every time. That's the best option. Floater's not bad, or little fade is not bad either. Just depending on your control. But learning how to make secondary reads is huge, because a lot of players can drive and hit the spin or hit the pro hop, but are stuck afterwards or still get blocked even after, depending on how the defender plays you. So far we have our spin move with multiple options, and of course our spin move up and under, and then we have our pro hop. Lastly, we're gonna have our inside hand sneak. So a lot of times you're gonna see some elite guards who can understand getting to the rim, and sometimes even though that they get there, the defense has just done an incredible job of walling up the basket. So you're not even able to get it over, you're not even able to stretch it out to the outside, but what you can do is sneak it underneath them sometimes. So when we get to here and we start to drive to the basket, and we've gotten so deep to the paint that now the defense is no longer to our side here, but they start to sneak and creep behind us to get the block from behind or to wall up completely here. So instead of having this finish or this finish or this finish, you can sneak that ball underneath with the inside hand. And that's why it's so important to be able to use both hands on both sides of the basket. Because I can drive here and now sneak the ball in with that left hand on the right side, or I can drive to the right side and sneak it with the left hand, and sometimes it's even faster to stretch that ball out. But if I'm here and the defense starts to get behind me, I can sneak that ball in with that inside hand. Now, I just showed you how to do it off 2 feet, but you can also go ahead and just lift up the foot and go 1 step. So I'm right hand, jump off the right foot, sneak it there with the left, making sure I get up as quickly as possible, and then left hand drive, bring up this right hand, bring up this right leg. Just sneak it up quick and stretch it out.